Hello, we are the Way Better NPCs. We just watched the Xbox Bethesda showcase. We have a lot of thoughts. Maybe not many thoughts if it was one note, but there was some good stuff that we saw. So let's go ahead and round the table and maybe rate it first and see how we
we're just going to do a rating?
Yeah, let's rate it first.
I'll give it a 5, the showcase. Starfield, I'll give like a 7-8.
Wow.
I'll give it a 7. Thought there was enough of games we knew about that got me, looking forward to them, but not enough new stuff to make it, pop off the page. So, yeah, 7.
Okay. I'll probably give the Xbox portion probably a 7. I'd probably give the Starfield maybe a 9, but a little bit too long. Really excited about that stuff, but yeah, I think a 7 and a 9 because I'm going to split it up into the two.
I was going to give it about an 8 too because of 7 and a 9 as well. I feel like that's pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. 7 and 9. 7 was just showcase. 9 for Starfield. That was
Starfield
a good presentation.
Yeah.
Starfield was a really
the worst part about Starfield is that it was a little too long. But everything they showed, as someone who literally was not interested at all, it's like, oh shit.
Now you're kind of like, I would like to play it a little bit.
It's still too overwhelming, I feel like.
Would you try it though, since it's Game Pass? Like,
I feel like
it's essentially free.
See, Game Pass would be what would get me in to try it,
right?
And it's scary because I feel like because it's overwhelming. I don't want to get lost in it, but I feel like I would get.
But that's like Persona. You got lost in Persona,
but it's like intimidating.
It's your Breath of the Wild or the Tears of the Kingdom fear, right?
Yeah,
too much.
That's why I didn't get Tears.
Great, you know what I mean? Like it's amazing, but it's just a lot,
I feel like the Starfield Direct definitely addressed the fears I had with the game of it. Oh, it's gonna be huge. All these planets. Is there gonna be anything to do?
Yeah.
Like they showed
They showed everything,
more than enough to do.
Starfield beat the No Man's Sky allegations?
I think
I gotta play it first. I have to play it first.
I think they got ahead of there are going to be empty planets,
correct.
But they're just for
they even admitted that.
But you can go and set up an outpost and mine on that planet,
right?
And come back,
or on the way to the planet, having those dogfight,
let's not get too in depth with Starfield though, because we still have to talk a little showcase.
Yeah.
So before we go,
do we have to?
We do because we need to say what we are looking forward to, or what the positives were out of this showcase. So, what is one? And I don't want to start because I
can start it. I'm wearing the Xbox shirt. So
hey, I got a Halo and a Gears hat on. So
while we were watching the showcase, I think the thing that actually excited me the most was the game that's not actually a first-party studio. The massive Star Wars game. Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so that's really exciting for me.
He's only saying it because it's on the TV.
Yeah,
right
exactly. No, but I was excited for that.
Yeah.
Coming off of Jedi Survivor, seeing another Star Wars game that looked super exciting. Another
Star Wars
show or another game in the Star Wars universe, kind of taking a different take on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy with the titles that they produced, and this is the first time we're seeing it. We heard about this game coming out. Massive does good games, but that was probably the highlight of the show for me.
Yeah, we didn't see one lightsaber. I'm excited to find out what that game is. Is it going to be a live service game with a pretty deep story, or is it going to be kind of just a standalone single player thing? But it looks like we'll know more about that with the Ubisoft showcase.
And good get for Xbox to have it at their showcase.
Oh yeah. I think we grew up with a good Star Wars catalog for games like the PS2 and the Xbox era, the early Xbox era. So it's nice to see that Star Wars is still going to be pumping out games, maybe not at the rate that PS2 and stuff did. But I enjoyed the last 2 Star Wars games. Hopefully we get more Bounty Hunter stuff type games and whatnot. But
I'm waiting for the Sony tweet. All these great games coming to PlayStation.
Yes.
Just a little, shot back after what they did to them.
Let's see if Sony even does that, right? I don't know if they engage like that.
Xbox doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Wait, did anyone else watch that game on TV today? That's what I might do.
I think, for me, what was the clock game called? Clockwork, the full title? Is that what it was?
Clockwork Revolution.
Clockwork Revolution looked interesting to me. That's probably one. That's probably the only one outside of Star Wars that I really want to play. That I saw in the showcase. I don't play the Forza, the realistic Forza ones. And I don't think... Motorsport. A lot of those other, artsy games looked cool, but I wouldn't get into it. Maybe 33 Immortals is going to be my game of the year.
Oh no.
No, I mean that looked horrible to me. One, but yeah, I think there weren't many games that I really can see myself wanting to play out of the showcase.
Yeah, I guess my standout was probably Star Wars as well, but I'll give a shout out to Fable. Just I guess in-engine looked good. I think Xbox has got a, after saying how, everything's going to be in-engine, it's not just going to be CG trailers taking a shot at Sony, they kind of stuck their foot in their mouth when most of these games were no gameplay at all. Just in-engine CG trailers. So
Right.
that was kind of BS on their part, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed.
But, I don't know. Fable, cool CG trailer. I'm interested to see what that is.
Yeah, I mean they kept the humor.
Yeah.
I feel like
that's how
they're.
Fable's always been. Yeah.
I feel like in opening the show, I think they're really.
That was surprising.
They're really
to
excited
me.
about it. You could tell they're excited about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the surprising part for me because like we knew it was coming and we were waiting for. I mean, Clockwork Revolution looked great, so like I give credit to that ending it. I think Greg had mentioned like everybody's not familiar with their studios yet, so
Yeah,
like
there's so many
that game
new ones.
looked great, but like it wasn't like a pop for us because like
Yeah.
we're not familiar with In Exile
Right,
like that.
right.
Even like the Wasteland series, people love it, but it's
Yeah.
still like a subset of people. Like this will
Yeah.
probably be like a game that breaks them through possibly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like at the moment, it's like okay, cool, I think that's their issue because for me, like personally, when it comes to the stuff they showed, I liked what they showed, but I feel like they're bad at making trailers.
Yeah.
Like I feel like because I like what I saw with Fable, but like there's only like a couple spots in it that looked kind of like oh shit, like that's the game. Like when like the part like with the giant and stuff, and like there was a part when like it was like slamming on the table that looked like I could see that as the game
Yeah.
mixed with the rest of it, which just looked like visuals, like a trailer
Yeah.
versus like
Right.
actual gameplay. And then like Avowed was like huge, and their like CG trailer was like great, but then the way it showed wasn't like amazing.
It
And like
didn't
yeah.
look good
Yeah.
at
we
all.
were talking about it, like oh yeah, we're
Speaking of Avowed, yeah.
we're
Yeah.
looking forward to it because Obsidian has a reputation. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I think the game will be great.
It
but,
just looks like
it
it's on a
doesn't-
dated engine.
Doesn't look as good as like.
You'd like it to be.
And
Yeah.
then like my most anticipated game was Hellblade, and like
You didn't get much out of that.
it looked great, like but it already looked great before when we saw it. You know
And
what I
it
mean?
was
We
the
wanted to see it
gameplay.
in action.
They showed
Right.
a new trailer, and it was a worse trailer than
Yeah.
the old ones.
It looked like it was the
Like-
start screen.
Which is fine. It's
Yeah.
just like you can't go back. Like we saw this cool action trailer,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
you went to like, oh cool, they have the voices like the first game, but we knew about
We knew
that.
Right.
exactly.
It's not a new
Like people
thing,
want
yeah.
to know
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
Well, like
plays
the-
because the other one at the Game Awards was like gameplay, but it was like on rail
That
section of
should've-
the
yeah,
gameplay.
right.
Yeah.
And we need like to see it in action. That was pretty disappointing.
What was the one game where they had the old guitar guy?
Oh.
South of Midnight.
Yeah, I don't know what that is
For
at
me,
all.
yeah,
I
That
don't
one
know
was
what that
exciting
is.
only because, again, and for same thing with Clockwork Revolution, like Microsoft bought those studios in 2018.
Yeah.
Compulsion and In Exile
Something's coming
haven't
from it.
Right.
shown anything.
Yeah.
Like In Exile was finishing Wasteland 3, but like outside of that, we haven't seen their Xbox titles yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was excited when I saw their logos because I was like, oh, finally we're seeing it.
Right.
Yeah.
But with the South of Midnight, it was like, what is this?
What is this? Yeah, I don't know.
I know
what any
because
of
of
it is.
leaks, it's supposed to be like a third-person action-adventure game and stuff like that, so that's cool. But
Yeah.
like, we didn't get that from the trailer.
No,
No,
not at
no,
all.
like,
Not at
and-
all.
and if
I
they're-
wouldn't
if
have known that at all.
And they're gonna have this like supplemental thing on Tuesday, but this is the time to make your mark. That
Yeah.
supplemental stuff is for like the nerds of the group.
The
Like, oh, I really want to
enthusiasts,
deep dive
yeah, like-
into it. But like, this is the time to present, and I feel like for those types of games, not telling us what it is, it's back to 2020 again. We talked about this before before the presentation started. 2020's presentation was amazing. It's like, here's the future of everything
Yeah.
that's coming, and we
Yeah.
were so pumped. And like, we can be pumped for these games, but now that we're in the actual generation, not showing what the game is and us needing to go further and find out, it like hampers the experience.
This is like my fear with the new style of showcase. I think like when E3 was, big E3, we had a stage. The biggest complaint was, we sat down and watched them play 20 minutes of Just Dance. And it's like, okay, we didn't like that. We don't want the long gameplay, pieces in the shows, but we need to see like something to tell us what the game is beyond just CG. So I
Right.
feel like they went too far in the direction of like, let's not show anything about this game other than it exists. And it's like, well, for these games like, like Rob said, here it was that South of Midnight and Clockwork Revolution. For PlayStation, it was Concord and Fair Games.
Yeah.
It's these games that don't have, prequels. We don't have a ton of faith or historic knowledge of the developer. We need to see more than just, hey, here's a game, it's a first-party game. It's like, okay, that works if it's Ghost of Tsushima 2. Because we know what Ghost of Tsushima
know what it was
is.
before, exactly.
It works if it's Gears, because we know what Gears is. It doesn't work for new IP from new studios. It just, we need more.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid we're getting a little too far away
And
from that.
talking about what the showcases are, if you're looking at the Sony showcase versus this Xbox showcase, they're super similar.
They are so
Meaning,
similar.
think about the end. We got this huge deep dive into Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what did we get at the end of this one? This huge deep dive into Starfield. It's the same thing.
It's
Like,
the
the
same
transition
setup,
of, like, how we're going to pace this thing with how it's going to end was exactly the same.
I feel like going back to, it's kind of been memed a lot because of the 10-year anniversary, but the Xbox One reveal and how bad it was. And then Sony immediately delayed their press conference, went into the back room, changed up their whole strategy, and capitalized on Microsoft's failure. And it changed the next few generations. I'm not saying this last PlayStation showcase was that level of bad, but it definitely left a door open for Microsoft to take advantage.
Yep.
Yeah.
And instead of pivoting, they released the same showcase that Sony did.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
I mean, in both of them, with retrospect and time, like, okay, we saw some really cool games. I put them both around like a B, BB minus.
Yeah.
Lots of cool games coming out, just nothing to excite us for the future.
Besides their main
I was
upcoming...
gonna
Other
say,
than games we know.
Yeah,
We know,
all I
yeah.
know is
We
that
knew about.
2024 is apparently the year.
Yeah, right. Everything was
Xbox.
2024.
And those are 2024 games that we knew about in 2020.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
so that's
like,
crazy.
I was like, my biggest disappointment is Hellblade not coming out this year, for
Look,
sure. Like,
Well,
And
when
also,
she-
and also your biggest relief because of our fantasy.
Yeah, the fantasy.
You're right.
when she said we just wrapped up shoots, and I think Greg was the one that was like, "Did she just say that?" I knew right away Hellblade
I didn't even catch that.
was not coming out anytime soon.
Because they announced that game in 2019 with the Series X. It's like, damn, bro, like,
Yeah.
It's just been crazy.
like
And
all the COVID and stuff.
Yeah, and going back to the showcase with Sony versus the Xbox thing, it's the omissions of what we are expecting to come out and not being talked about. So, when I went to the Sony thing, it's like, where is Factions?
Where's
Where's
Ghost
possible
2,
Last of Us 3? Where's
possibly?
Ghost 2? Where's whatever? And, like, in this one, it's like, hey, where's Everwild? We got the oop-de-oop, right? Like, we thought we saw Rare, and we're like, oh, here comes Everwild. And then it was Sea of Thieves with whatever collab they're doing, and we just got
The Lucas
Monkey Island.
They
right?
dropped Rare and then Lucasfilm.
Yes.
And it's Sea of Thieves, Monkey Island.
Right,
Which,
we
like,
think it's something else.
Shout out Flight Simulator, by the way.
excited for 10 people out there, but
Right.
like, come on.
10 people out
Yeah.
there.
And-
Shout out those 10
and,
people.
Like, where's Everwild? Like, they had all of that stuff. They talked about their quadruple A studio
Yep.
with Perfect Dark, and we still don't see anything with
Oh
Perfect
yeah,
Dark.
we didn't see a single
Right?
Perfect Dark.
Like, there are all of these games.
There's just so many things I forgot about.
Yeah.
Because they
Xbox,
announced
like,
them in
that they
2019
announced,
and
what
haven't
is-
talked about
and
them
they
since.
don't talk about it.
What is
since, yeah.
Contraband? What is the next, like, Doom game? Or the next Wolfenstein game? Or what is, like, Deathloop came out in, what, 2020?
2020.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yes, Arcane Austin came out with the game just now, but Arcane Lyon...
Did they show any Bethesda stuff outside of the live service?
No.
Okay.
Starfield.
Starfield...
Outside of Starfield 2, but yeah.
No, that's it.
but
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's
like.
it.
Well, I was
Right?
thinking about because before it started, a lot of people were wondering if Bethesda was going to be there at all because the last two were Xbox Bethesda showcase, and this one was just Xbox.
I mean, but there was
Starfield.
still like heavy Bethesda there, but they
Yeah.
were all live.
Well, it was, it was
servers.
only the two live service games or whatever. So maybe that's the reason we didn't see those games. But even then, it's like
Unless they're going to do the developer directs for these type of games.
I can't.
I will
But-
say that the developer direct, like their new thing, presents way
Those
more
are way better
interestingly than their
because they
showcase.
know they
'Cause
need
the
to
Star-
be
like,
on their
I'm
A
thinking about
game.
the ones from the
When
beginning
it's
of the
the
year,
developers.
the Starfield one. I'm like,
Yeah.
these like are very interesting to watch,
Right.
like just on a certain level and stuff.
Exactly.
But
I
it
agree.
also, like, it gives you a context and a focus of
Yes.
saying, you're going to sit down and watch 40 minutes of this game.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
You can't do that necessarily in the showcase.
In the showcase,
Right.
yeah.
Like, the showcase, it's definitely a little more like of an art delivering a good one.
Yeah.
And Sony had that art down until this one where it was just like, oh, you really just delivered an Xbox showcase. And then I was reminded of that when Xbox delivered an Xbox showcase.
Yeah, but I'm going to go back to 2020. The 2020 one was amazing. The 2021 PlayStation one where we got like the Wolverine and like
but it was
all that,
amazing,
that was
because we had something to look forward to.
Right.
We're here now, and like we're still waiting for those 9 out of 10 of those amazing things that we call amazing to even give us any, and we haven't seen it, and that's the biggest problem, because a lot of those amazing things are 24, 25 now for Xbox.
Yeah. I mean, I think another thing, just comparing the two, at least the positions they're in, is like Xbox, we heard about games in 2020 that we have no idea about.
Right.
Where then on the flip side, we haven't heard anything from PlayStation, so it's just like, what is there? But we know that they both have stuff coming. It's just
Correct.
when
it's
do
a
we
matter
get
of when.
to see it? I mean, I think we have a much clearer picture of Xbox's 2024 than Sony's.
Especially if they want to hit that every quarter type thing. Like, I think they showed that they could have a game every quarter based off of the presentation without any delays. But the delays, there's always going to be delays.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. The game every quarter for 2024 for Xbox. We've got Avowed for Game
Hellblade
Pass.
2.
Avowed, Hellblade
possibly.
2, Flight Sim.
But that's not a new game,
That's like
though.
DLC, though.
No, it's a new game.
Oh, Flight Sim
Oh, it is?
2024, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to think, like, are Avowed and Hellblade carry, if those, just those two games, say that's just, December or November and
October
summer.
through December.
Yeah.
Like, that's enough to, like, carry those two quarters. You probably don't need two games as big in the other two quarters, but
Agreed.
yeah, I think that's a pretty solid case to make for 2024 if you can fit two more in there and
Yeah.
you don't delay them.
Your Game Pass Game Pass
I was
community
gonna
has
say.
stuff. It was both, especially if like Persona 3 Reloaded comes, right? That's coming in 2024, and it's a Game Pass game. Just talk about Game Pass, right? Like their Game Pass subscribers are going to have a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think
I'm just looking for that one AAA, like that, what they said, one AAA tentpole with like a quarter. I don't know.
I know
if
that's
we
what
have
they
that,
want, but
it's
I feel
not
like
bad.
they're in a good spot because
Yeah.
realistically, I think, especially like if a lot of people are wanting them to be Sony. If we look at Sony's smarter about how they make deals. Sony's playing the game how Xbox played in 360.
Yes.
When Sony doesn't have games, they have a partnership where a game is coming out. Realistically, we know that Spider-Man's coming, but like
There's
we
not
have
much.
we have Final Fantasy coming. It's not
Yeah.
first party, but like it's
Yeah.
a massive game.
Yeah.
And so, like, last year they had Horizon and God of War, but they had stuff in the middle to fill it out. And so, 2 games in 2024, although I do want them to hit their every quarter because they have that many studios, if Avowed and Hellblade are high 80s, low 90s, I think
I guess
you have
Clockwork too. Clockwork,
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
And the other one is the South of Midnight. So there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they do.
There's 4.
They do.
Yeah.
But that's not all.
I was gonna say, I don't think those 2 games are coming next year.
I don't think it's
I don't-
Oh, you're right. Clockwork
Yeah.
said in due time.
In
Right.
due time.
Yeah,
But-
although I
but
feel like
Fable
that's
could
a little
have-
cheeky. I feel
Right.
like they might be further along than they like.
But
let
Fable
on.
could be winter of 2020. There's no date, but it could be winter. So if you have a game every 4 months, if you have 3 AAA games
Yeah.
once every 4 months, that's huge.
That's still huge.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very big,
Yeah.
especially if it's a
Plus the other things.
if it's an
so-
Avowed, if
Right.
it's a
There'll
Fable, and
still
if
be
it's
plenty more in between all that. Not huge, but
Can I say my biggest disappointment of the showcase was Avowed?
I
I
It's
agree.
That's
I
fair.
think
I was expecting it to be
I was
like
expecting a lot
I
more
was
from it.
expecting like Obsidian's Elder Scrolls type deal. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
it
Like
looked
I
horrible
expecting
to
it
me.
to look and like present in that kind of way, even as a trailer.
It felt just clunky. Like the gameplay looked
Yeah.
clunky.
Yeah, but-
It felt like a AA RPG, which is kind of what it like. Think of Outer Worlds, like that was even. It wasn't the level of those top Western RPGs, but it was still really good.
yeah.
I feel like that's where this fits in, and I just didn't love the style.
I was gonna
Yeah, I
say maybe
agree.
it's a I was gonna say
It
maybe
could-
it's
yeah,
like
it could be a style thing.
genre thing for me because I was like what I was hearing from all like the leaks and rumors was that it's supposed to be like Outer Worlds, but like bigger and like magic and shit.
Yeah.
And so, but to me, and again, maybe it's just me. I'm like, this looked like worse than Outer Worlds.
That's what I was
And
gonna
so
say.
I was like,
Outer Worlds didn't look
expecting-
awful, but
I
it
was
looks way
expecting
worse
it
than
to
Outer
look
Worlds.
like
Like-
and play
and it
better
could hit,
than that.
and it
Yeah.
could hit like, and it could hit that, right? Because
Yeah.
like we don't know when it's coming out,
Correct.
and we don't know when this was actually created. But just based off of what
What we saw, right? We're going off what we
screen,
saw.
Yeah.
That's I
It
agree.
did not look good.
I
yeah.
agree. It just looked like it did not look like
Elder
the level it
Scrolls
should be.
Online looks better than that, which is crazy. It's an MMO RPG.
You guys are naming all
It
these
looks like
things. I already
Skyrim.
forgot about those that were in the presentation. Honestly,
I mean, Elder Scrolls Online is what Microsoft has to make up for the fact they don't have Final Fantasy XIV.
oh here we go.
So there's no reason to remember it.
Here we
There's
go.
no reason to remember it.
So I mean, were you disappointed by something like
Yeah, I think
extreme?
No, I mean not extreme. I thought I would echo what Greg said. To the level of what I thought Avowed should look like, it did not
It didn't.
look like it should. But mostly like I go back, it's the lack of omission, or it's the omissions that they made that I'm the biggest misses for me.
Yeah.
Because like there's so much stuff that I want to know about, and that goes back to the Sony thing too. Like where does the stuff I want to see? That's what I wanted. That's why the Star Wars thing, I wasn't expecting the Star Wars
So
thing to
that
be
was
here.
kinda like
So that
hype
was
for you,
that was
yeah.
like the hype. But the things that I want to see, like I'm a N64 kid, so I want to see what Perfect Dark's going to look
Yeah.
like. You know, I want to see what Everwall's going to look like as someone who really likes Rare. So the things that I knew that are coming, and I know they dropped the next 12 month or whatever. I know they dropped
Yeah.
that, but them focusing on the stuff that's coming soon, it's fine, which is what they need to do, but it's got to look better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, look-wise, a lot of these games looked like old engines or just they didn't do them recently. I think with Avowed being the way it was, I think that's going to hurt a lot of people's perception on, the hype for it when a lot of people have been hyped for it. I don't know, I feel like this could have been, the presentation, the Xbox one could have been a lot shorter. You could have maybe packed this into like 30 to 45 even. Some of these games got really in-depth long trailers, and Flight Simulator was one of them that got like over 5 to 10 minutes.
Skylines, let's
City
get it.
Sky, yeah, there's two. City Skylines 2. I don't know. I just feel like there was a lot there where it didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Or it didn't need to be the length that it was.
I'd say the length thing because
Yeah.
I think what I gathered from it while I was watching it was like, again, they're still trying to be the variety box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yes.
so many things like you kept making like jokes and stuff. I'm like, there's people for that. Like
No, and there are.
is
No,
people for everything. Like
There-
I agree with you
like all these
completely.
different niches and genres.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? But they're not always the most exciting niches and genres to watch. Which is why I'm like, I feel like they need to figure out how to present better. I feel like there's a way to present certain titles, certain lengths of trailers for certain titles, where you still talk to these people, but you're not like killing your own pacing.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's just we're spoiled with like the old E3s and stuff, where we expect every presentation like this to be something to wow us.
Literally, yeah. 'Cause
Like-
back in the day, the old E3s was like bang, 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 and then you
Yeah.
got like a break for a racing game. And then,
Right,
yeah.
And like,
And I think that like I can't speak for you guys, but that's like my mindset when I'm told we're getting these events, regardless of Xbox and Sony. I think, all right, I'm getting excited because I'm going to see stuff that's going.
It's gonna wow me.
really wow
Yeah.
me.
Yes.
But I don't feel like I've been wowed.
It's a
even, like-
self-expectation.
Yes, yes.
I was gonna
it's a
say,
self-
but that's our fault. That's
Yeah,
our
that's
fault.
our fault. That's
Yeah.
our fault. Well, that's my fault at least.
Well, I think okay, so
I agree.
I agree and disagree. Like only because like I think it is about being wowed. Because I definitely think I set high expectations for both of these. I was trying to temper mine for this
Yeah.
one. I was like, guys, because people on the internet were like hyping them up like crazy. But I think what it is like, again, like I actually saw a lot of stuff that I wanted to see. Like I said, I wanted to see Compulsion's thing. I wanted to see what the next title was doing. I got 3 Atlas games. Come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like they didn't present in a way that was like, wow. You
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah.
like
they called like the past like the year of dreams. Like this year for both of them was just like the year of like content sleep. Like you just kind of you woke up and it was like, okay, that was a nice night,
Yeah.
nothing memorable. But like I think the Xbox was better suited to have that because they've had more showcases and we kind of know. Like I don't think this fell short of expectations. It just didn't wow. I think Sony set themselves up for failure by delivering the showcase they had, because they had been only throwing out big wow showcases. They had state of plays, and they've delineated those from their showcases to say, like, here's where we're showing small stuff.
Yeah.
State of plays are, just more often, and the showcases are our big moments. And we waited about 2 years for that one, and it showed us nothing to really wow us. That's why I think they're going to get a much more negative reaction, or it did get a much more negative reaction
Than this will.
than this one will.
Yeah.
But both of them were essentially the same. The year contest.
Oh yeah, it was definitely
Yeah.
From Starfield and Spider-Man being like your closer to we're gonna deep dive.
Yeah.
And then you get, at least for me, there's at least 2 from both of the shows where I was like, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But okay, enough of bashing or loving this showcase. So with Starfield and their, what did they do, half hour there at the end?
Yeah, something like that.
How are you feeling about Starfield now compared to when the show started to when they showed it like 15 minutes left into the showcase, and then to then getting the deep dive into Starfield?
Oh, me?
We just
Oh,
go
sorry,
around.
you started off
okay.
as the
You turned it off, yeah.
Yeah.
Me still not play the game.
Yeah. So
You're the one that's not gonna play it.
Starfield has been like the conversation around Xbox for the last like 2 years. It's supposed to be their saving grace, their generational title, the new picture on the box, and I have not given a shit about it the entire time. I've very much been like, yeah, they inherited this one. Where's Hellblade? Yeah, they inherited this one. Where's Fable? You know what I mean? I've had zero interest in Starfield aside from knowing that it's important and expecting it to review at least semi-well. And now I 100% think that it will be everything everyone's talking about. Like, there's just a lot. Like, it's a lot. And it's exciting, which is something like, I always see these games and I'm like, oh, these just aren't for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I was just watching it like, there's a lot more to these games than I feel like I realized 'cause I haven't played them. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is going to be special for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there's part of me that wants it to be special for me, but I just, it's just intimidating. It's a lot, you know. But, you know, I'm excited now. I'm excited to see it. Before I'm like, yeah, let's move on. When's the next thing? You know what I mean? Now I'm like, all right, cool. I'm excited to be part of the energy now.
I mean, I'm in. I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be good. I thought it was gonna be a Bethesda game, right? It's gonna be really good. It's gonna have bugs, but you know that's part of the charm. At some point,
Bethesda.
you know, I mean, like, you know, there's random things people post online, especially now with the social media age. You can be like, hey, look how stupid this thing was, and it's like
then
hilarious.
In the next game, they have like a little thing to that bug. Yeah.
But you know, with them taking out all, you know, taking this much time to polish it, I think it looks, I think it looks really good. I think it's going to be at least
like
a 9.
one of the best Bethesda games graphically I've seen. Art-wise, I should say.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a 9, right now. But the part that worries me is when we were talking about this while watching it. Is this 60? Is this 30? Like, what are the technical specs?
He said we'd know. They didn't say it.
Like, what are the technical specs? Right?
Know.
Especially coming off the heels of Redfall, like, what are we looking at here? You know, we have 3 months before this game comes out. I don't want them slapping stickers on the box that says, like, you know, like, performance mode coming later or whatever. Like,
games like this,
you know, this is a deep dive.
Should not be 30 ever.
It's a deep dive. Just tell us what we're, you know, like what.
Let me know ahead of
time.
time. Yeah, why disappoint me when it gets closer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into it, I was kind of just. It was the next big Bethesda game, so it was on my radar. I probably would have played it, but I had very little excitement about it. And this definitely made me more excited. I thought it was really cool seeing the new Bethesda engine in a better form than that short gameplay we saw last time they did a presentation on it. I think the combat looks much improved
Way
from
better.
That
Fallout
uppercut.
and
I want that
Skyrim.
jetpack.
The uppercuts, the guy just punching his way through was hilarious.
And floating in the, he got punched and he's just floating with the gravity.
It's crazy how they still have like the dead, lifeless NPC faces.
That is forever Bethesda.
Is something they should have tried to improve, but I guess with that many NPCs, and it sounds like they're just making them out of the character creator. I don't know how much they could do.
Yeah.
You know, like how much that would have been a ton of work. So, overall though, it's exciting. The customizability of the ships to your weapons to like homesteads all over the place. None of it feels like forced, like build this one outpost in Fallout, but it's like, hey, you can like kind of create your own mining
Anywhere,
camp on
yeah.
this country, make a house here, docking ships in space, like commandeering them looks really cool.
And then space fighting. Yeah,
All the
space
sandwiches
fighting.
you can get.
All
Yeah,
the sandwiches.
that was
yeah.
weird.
You need to look into that woman.
Uh,
What's wrong with her?
That was weird. It does, like I mentioned it when I was watching it, it looks like half the game is a Bethesda game, and then half the game they stole No Man's Sky.
And perfected it.
And kind of used a huge team to actually get it right. So that's kind of cool. I think the big question, I know Santino will touch on this, is story. We didn't see a ton with story,
Yeah.
and a lot of them talked about like, oh, we're giving you a sandbox to create your own story. I really hope it's strong, because I feel like what made Fallout 3 great was the sandbox, but a great
story. Yeah.
And I think Fallout 4 kind of missed
They
that.
dropped the ball on that
There
story.
was not much story there, and not much innovation. So here we definitely have the innovation, bring some solid story to it, still give us the room to create our own, and I think it could be, 9s and 10s. I'm really excited for it now.
I was very much over the game. I just felt like it was going to be empty, like we had talked about, like all these planets. There's not going to be anything to do, but right away they mentioned, some planets are empty, but it's all mining. Some planets are, like, there's a rich colony, there's,
And being able to see from space which
where
which
you can-
planet
that
is
map
what
is
type.
just
That's
crazy.
great. That's great.
When they got into like the shipbuilding, like Greg said, and all the guns and all the things you can do with your weapons and the crews you can get for your ship, that's cool to me. The one thing, when Greg said the story thing, it's funny because now that we're talking about it, and I kept joking about there's no story, or there's such a limited story, they did such a good job in this presentation for me to forget that there's not even a story that they mentioned. Like, if there's no story, I don't know how, like, there is a story, but if there's no in-depth story, I don't know how long all these random things you can do in this game will hold me over. But I mean, it feels like it's like endless possibilities of customization, mining, ships, you name it. So, like Greg said, there needs to be a strong story. It can't just be like, here's Fallout 4, but it's kind of just another bland story, but go build a house and put people in it. The gunplay looks really good in first and third person. I'm excited. I was really just not going to get it and just be like whatever about it. I just hope there's nothing that's like game breaking on release where it gets the cyberpunk treatment, because then that will definitely hurt the 8s and 9s and maybe even 10s for it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What?
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of space for things to go wrong in this game.
That's my concern. It's such a big game. Bethesda and all the Fallout games are known for all the huge bugs.
I'm really hoping they send this for review weeks early.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing that, hey,
Darth Vader at the end.
reviewers got this game a week,
2 days before.
even a
Yeah.
week before, but 2 days before.
Because people are going to be thirsty to like shit on the game.
Yeah, well, I want to know, if you have 2 days with this game, it doesn't feel like you can scratch the surface of
No,
it.
not at all.
Yeah, I was
Like,
gonna
I
say.
feel like you need at least over a week.
Oh,
if you're
absolutely, over a
reviewer.
week.
Because I mean, I don't know. I'm excited.
I'm excited, but I'm very, like-
there's a little bit of
Yeah.
cautious.
Cautious, that's the word, yeah.
Cautiously optimistic, but like I'm 100% in now. Where
I'm
I was,
in, yeah.
I was on the
Verge of not being really
just not
caring
very
for
excited,
it.
but
Yeah.
I was gonna get it.
Also, I know the release date already came out, but knowing Spider-Man 2's release date, I am glad that I'm going to have like a straight month with it before another game comes out. I was kind of stressed whenever Jedi Survivor came out, and then Redfall, thankfully, it's not good, so I didn't even...
Because you were really
hyped
hyped to play Redfall.
Yeah, I was. I mean, that's based off Arcane, but like having the Jedi Survivor, then Redfall, and then Tears of the Kingdom, like right in a row, that was kind of like overwhelming for me. But since Redfall sucked, it was kind of like, here you can finish Jedi Survivor, do what you want with
Yeah.
it, and then you have Tears of the Kingdom, and there's really nothing for me right now up until like the next thing comes out that I'm actually interested for. But like I feel like having that, knowing that I'm gonna have a month of Starfield to like invest my time in before Spider-Man
might
2
not
comes
even
out.
play Spider-Man
It's
right
like
away.
it's like
You
this
get
is
so lost in
I'm
it.
excited for that.
That's my biggest disappointment of this whole 2 hours today.
Uh,
That this new Series S, all for it to be in black and 500 more gigabytes.
well, the big disappointment
And the
was
price.
that's how they ended the show. They
Yeah, that
closed
was
it
tough.
with a black
Yo.
Xbox Series S for 1 terabyte.
for $350. Yeah, that's
And
rough.
then he goes, and our one more thing, the
Starfield
Starfield
Direct.
That we knew about
the thing
already.
we knew about. Like, there's no big
Yeah,
surprise.
That wasn't a one more thing. It was
Like,
just
Man, when
Yeah.
he said, we've been taking like your guys' feedback. We hear what you're saying. I was like, oh, are they gonna add the platinum equivalent? 'Cause that's what everyone talks
Yeah.
about. And like, they're just like, more Series X.
yeah, more
on
Series
shelf.
X to make more money off 500 more
I'm like,
gigabytes
bro.
and in black.
The community is asking for other things.
Yeah.
Although people have been complaining about
With
that.
with the Series S 1 terabyte, they should have just phased out the 500 terabyte
500.
and say we're just increasing it so like you have better bang for your buck even more now for a $300 S.
They should have
Yeah.
never made a 500 gigabyte system. To be honest, it should have always been 1 terabyte. You can't do anything with 500 gigabytes. That's COD right there.
No, I mean, yeah.
That's 2 games. That's honestly, it's 2 games. 500 gigabytes.
We know Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Well, I guess you can't download that on Xbox anyway, so never mind.
Never mind the 2 disc
That's
game.
gonna be big. That's
Well-
gonna be it could be up to 200.
I was gonna say, yeah. When they
That's
said
what I'm
2 discs,
saying,
I
you
was
can't
like,
do anything
how
with
big is
500
that download
gigabytes.
gonna be?
No.
up to 200.
It
Probably
did,
one-
that I was the
40,
biggest
150.
hater for that when they announced it at 500 gigabytes. That I didn't understand it. It's 2 games. It's literally 2
Well, and
games,
it's discless.
and
like,
it's discless. So it's like
Yeah.
you're gonna have a huge download regardless.
Not that discs mean anything
Anymore. Yeah, but
it comes with a gig on it, and then you have to download everything anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys got anything else you want to add to either the showcase or Starfield?
2 weeks till Final Fantasy 16. What's the hype levels?
Greg's hype level is at 100. I'm gonna teeter mine at a 7.
yeah, I'm gonna wait until I can find out how long the game is. That's
It'll
how
be long.
It's gonna be
Yeah,
long. I mean,
then
that's
I might
not for
be
you.
out.
Yeah,
Then I might
you're
be
out.
But if it's a 20-hour game,
No,
I might
There's like
no,
20
no.
hours of cutscenes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, that's different.
That's a 100-hour game, man. No.
I can skip the cutscene and watch it during work and like on YouTube.
Oh,
or
I could not
something.
do that. I could not do that.
I'm so happy there's like 20 hours.
Greg
of
is
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I love it.
yeah, Greg out here taking
It's too
maternity
long.
leave in September.
It's too long.
Oh,
it's
man.
too long.
Oh, I'm pumped.
Okay, well, I think that's it. I don't think we have any more out of the showcase.
No, I mean, there's really what's coming up next. Really nothing.
Yeah, Ubisoft. We'll be doing our conversation about how Ubisoft forward.
Are you serious right now? No, there's no way we're doing
No,
it.
we're not
Ubisoft thing, I was about to
No.
say, there's no way. Hey, send us the Starfield early.
New
Bethesda.
Dragon, let's
We'll
get
review it and give it 10s.
Yeah, anyone who wants to send review codes.
Yeah, we're in on that. Now that I won't ever say a bad thing about Xbox again if you send me a review code. Thank you. Robert, close us out.
Hey man, we just saw some games. Wow.
Wow.
Like, what is life? Summer has begun.
It's
Who knows
raining.
what the
It's
next
50
day-
degrees out.
Summer games have begun.
Wow.
And we everybody's been a little disappointing, a little underwhelming, but overall, the future is bright, like the stars
Oh Jesus.
in the field.
In the field.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching. Thank you and me for hosting. We will be back
Yes,
with
thank
another
you.
one.
Is there-
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's not. Oh no.
We want to say bye.
Okay, bye.
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 Let's get up.
They're coming off of Jedi Survivor.
Daddy!
You better go kiss your children.
This is for you.
I love you. Okay, love you.
Honey, that's my order, Daddy.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you.
No,
Leaving all
but
that in.
but seeing like another.
All right, let me do your thing.
All right, you scoot over.
I feel like it's that YouTube video of the 3 12-year-olds.
Leave that in there. I'm leaving that in there. I'm leaving that in there. The field and the stars. Holy shit, Rob. You cooked that.